Most people go through life never realizing they're sending signals, quiet, invisible ones, that make the people around them silently question their intelligence. And the most unsettling part? These aren't big, dramatic mistakes. They're small, everyday habits, things that feel completely normal, until psychology reveals exactly what they're communicating to everyone watching. Intelligence isn't measured only by IQ tests or academic degrees. According to decades of psychological research, a significant part of how intelligent you are perceived depends on your daily behavioral patterns, how you communicate, how you react, how you think out loud. The good news, every single habit on this list is something you can change, but you can't change what you can't see. So let's look closely. Here are 8 things to stop doing if you don't want to be seen as unintelligent. Number 1. You interrupt people when they speak. It might feel harmless. Maybe you're excited. Maybe you're sure you already know what they're going to say. But here's what psychology actually observes in that moment. Chronic interrupting signals 2 things simultaneously: poor active listening and an inability to hold complex ideas in working memory without immediately releasing them. In other words, you can't wait because you're afraid you'll forget. Highly intelligent people do the opposite. They listen fully because they're confident their own thoughts won't vanish. And when they finally speak, their response is more precise, more relevant, more insightful, because it was built on what they actually heard. The next time you feel the urge to cut someone off, pause. That pause alone communicates more intelligence than the words you were rushing to say. Number 2. You feel compelled to fill every silence. Silence makes you uncomfortable, so you talk. You add extra words, repeat your last point, or jump in with commentary that doesn't really add anything new. But psychologists have consistently observed that people who are genuinely secure in their intelligence are comfortable with pauses. They use silence intentionally, to think, to let an idea land, to give weight to what was just said. In contrast, nervous talking, what researchers call verbal flooding, often signals social anxiety and discomfort with being evaluated. And ironically, it produces exactly the impression you were trying to avoid. The most respected voices in any room are not the loudest, they're the most deliberate. Less is almost always more. Number 3, you never change your mind, and you treat that as a strength. I know what I believe, and nothing will change that. It sounds confident, but cognitive psychology tells a different story. Intellectual flexibility, the ability to update your beliefs when confronted with new evidence, is one of the most reliable markers of high fluid intelligence. Its opposite, cognitive rigidity, has been directly associated with lower-order thinking and limited problem-solving capacity. Intelligent people don't change their minds because they're weak. They change their minds because they're paying attention, because they understand that being wrong today is the only way to be right tomorrow. If you've ever dismissed an argument without fully engaging with it, that pattern is worth examining. Number 4, you substitute feelings for reasoning. I just feel like this is right. Something tells me this person can't be trusted. These statements aren't always wrong. Intuition has its place in human cognition. But when feelings become your primary justification for beliefs and decisions, and you can't explain beyond, "I just feel it," psychology identifies this as emotional reasoning. It's one of the cognitive distortions most consistently linked to limited analytical thinking. Intelligent people feel things too, but they also stop and ask, what is the actual evidence? What might I be missing? Is this feeling based on a real pattern or a bias I haven't examined? That habit of questioning your own reasoning, that's not doubt. That's the beginning of genuine intelligence. We're halfway through, and the next 4 habits are actually the ones most people never recognize in themselves. Before we continue, if this video is making you think, take a second and hit the like button. It helps this content reach the people who need it most. Now, let's keep going. Number 5, when something goes wrong, it's always someone else's fault. The colleague who didn't support you, the system that worked against you, the timing that was never right. There's always an external explanation, and you are never a meaningful variable in the equation. Psychologists call this an external locus of control, and the research is consistent. It correlates with lower academic and professional achievement, lower emotional intelligence scores, and reduced capacity for learning from experience. People with high intelligence tend to hold an internal locus of control, not out of self-blame, but out of a genuine belief that their actions matter. They ask, "What could I have done differently?" as a strategy, not a punishment. The ability to look inward honestly, without ego getting in the way, is a rare and visible form of intellectual courage. Number 6, you jump to simple answers for complicated problems. One cause, one villain, one obvious solution. Everything fits neatly into one sentence, and anyone who disagrees is missing something obvious. This tendency, what psychologists call black and white thinking or dichotomous reasoning, feels satisfying. Complexity is exhausting, simple is comfortable, but intelligent thinkers actively resist this pull. They understand that real insight requires holding two contradictory ideas at once, sitting in ambiguity without forcing a premature conclusion. The next time you catch yourself with a razor-sharp, obvious answer to something genuinely complex, pause and ask, "What am I not considering? Who or what is invisible in my current frame?" That question alone is the hallmark of a sophisticated mind. Number 7, the moment someone questions your idea, you get defensive. Someone asks, "But why do you think that?" And immediately it feels like an attack. You dig in. You repeat your point louder, faster, with more certainty, instead of actually addressing what they asked. According to psychology, this defensiveness is a symptom of what Carol Dweck called the fixed mindset, the belief that your intelligence is a fixed trait that can be threatened or exposed. People with this mindset interpret questions as attacks on their identity. But people with a growth mindset who consistently score higher on measures of intelligence see questions as fuel. They lean in. They get curious. They treat being wrong as the most productive thing that can happen to them. How you react when you're questioned reveals far more about your intelligence than the answer you were so anxious to defend. And number 8, you reach for your phone in the middle of a conversation. It might feel minor, a quick glance, muscle memory, but the research is striking. Studies have found that the mere visible presence of a smartphone, even face down on a table, measurably reduces the cognitive capacity of both people in a conversation. When you actually pick it up, scroll, or check notifications while someone is speaking, you are communicating very specific things: that your ability to delay gratification is low, that sustained focused attention is a struggle, that stimulation ranks higher than connection. These are not signals of intelligence, and in professional or social settings, people register them, consciously or not. Truly intelligent people protect their attention like it's a resource, because it is, and they know that the person in front of them is the most important signal in the room. 8 habits, 8 quiet signals that psychology has linked to how others perceive your mind. Here's what matters most. None of these behaviors make you less intelligent as a person. What they do is obscure your intelligence from others and sometimes even from yourself. They create static between your real capabilities and how the world receives them. The goal isn't to perform intelligence, it's to remove everything that's hiding it. Start with one habit this week, just one, and pay attention to what shifts, not just in how others respond to you, but in how clearly and confidently you begin to think. If this video was useful, subscribe for more psychology-backed insights every week, and drop a comment below. Which of these 8 habits do you think is the most common? I'd genuinely like to know.